Thank you for joining me today. Hope you are doing well. My name is Staci. I have been reselling on eBay and Posh, Mercari, Bonanza for over 10 years, and I just am hoping to share my experience, tips that I've learned along the way, and also my journey of being a reseller by myself post-divorce. Let's talk about some mistakes that in general resellers, including myself, have made in the past or continue once in a while to make still. Buying too much equipment too soon. Especially when you're watching YouTube videos, I know that it is very tempting to go out and think, okay, I need the light, I need all this stuff, but don't go out and buy all of that until you know that this is what you like, that you're gonna want to do it and continue day in, day out, or if it's part-time, you know that you're gonna like it. Start with taking pictures with your phone, and if you don't have a good light, try taking them near a window with natural light, or there are apps that you can use like Photo Room. Sometimes you have to be careful because it can kind of change the color of the item, but generally those are great to kind of help with getting a good background. Another mistake is not having the proper packing material. If you have something breakable that you are going to list, you want to make sure before you list it, because what if it sells in the first hour? I mean, it doesn't happen, at least to me, that often, but it does happen sometimes. So you want to make sure you have the correct things. You want to have bubble wrap, you want to have tape, boxes, the correct packing materials on hand before you even list that item. Not buying shipping through eBay is another example. Again, you don't need to go out and buy the fancy label printer when you're starting. If you just have a printer at home, buy your shipping through eBay or through Pirate Ship, and it will save you money. And a bonus is you can just drop the packages off or even schedule a pickup if you print your labels at home. Another mistake that resellers make is when you're listing the item to kind of embellish on the quality, or just kind of skip over, don't take pictures, or don't mention the flaws, and just kind of hope that when the buyer gets it, they won't notice it either. Don't do this. Yes, maybe you'll get away with it a couple times, but you know, if the buyer sees it, they might open up a return, so then you get the item back anyway. You can get negative reviews, so it's not good business practice. And there are things that, depending on the brand, depending on the style, there are things that still will sell with a flaw. So just be honest, take pictures of any flaws. Now, when you're selling on eBay, you are allowed up to 24 photos. Take advantage of that. Now, I don't sell remotes. I know that a lot of people do. A lot of people have success with it. But I just don't. Yeah, you gotta you gotta buy and resell what's gonna sell, but you also kind of have to like it, otherwise it'll sit in your death pile. And I don't like it. I don't like researching it, so I don't sell it. But let's say you have a remote. You can only take so many pictures of that remote. I think that or let's say I've sold these before, a cross stitch kit. You can only take so many pictures. So don't just take them and be redundant just to get the 24. Take what's needed. But if you have a piece of clothing or something, there's many times where I fill up that 24, because you can take a picture of the buttons close, the color, the label, the size label, the care label, all that kind of thing. So take advantage of it. Take the pictures with the mindset of the buyer needs to see everything that they need to know about this product through the pictures if they didn't read the description. Not organizing your inventory from the beginning. There are so many ways that you can organize in the system that you can have. Whatever works for you, but organize it from the beginning. You do not want to sell something that is the worst feeling when you sell something and you can't find it. I think every reseller has been there and done that, but you got to try not to. Not listing consistent. I've been selling, like I mentioned, for over 10 years, and I am to the point where I will admit I've gotten a little burnt out. So I am totally guilty of not being consistent, but I'm getting back. I'm getting remotivated. In my head, I'm thinking, yes, I'm getting more motivated, trying to change my thinking to not, oh, I have to list, but I get to list. I get to list things and have them find a happy home. I used to think, well, if I get a bunch of stuff, let's say I have 10, 20 things ready to go. I used to list them all in one day. And then the next day I'd, maybe be like, I also have a beauty YouTube channel, which I'll have linked below if you're interested in that, beauty and fashion. But I really love doing that. And so I would maybe the next day think, well, I want to work on that. And then nothing would get listed on eBay. I don't do that anymore. I count out the days of the week. And I determine, obviously I want to take pictures and photo every day. But if I don't, how many can I list a day and how many days will that last me? Even if it's just you have enough to do one a day, do one a day versus all of them in one day. Does that make sense? Because you just want to show eBay that you're active. Another mistake is, I feel like beginner especially, is letting the fear stop you from listing either a certain category or doing it at all. The fear of returns. I'm not gonna lie, it sucks when I get the notification that a return has been open, of course. However, I worked years in retail. That's part of the business. Returns are going to happen. It's up to you if you want to offer free returns or not. I personally do not, but they're going to happen. People change their mind, things don't fit. Once in a while, will you get a bad return? Yes. I had a shirt the other day. The person said they wanted to return it because they changed their mind, it didn't fit. Well, I got it back and it just smelled so strong of perfume. I know it didn't smell that way when it got shipped out, but it happens. You just have to take that emotion out of it, that personal. You can't take it personal. It's gonna happen. One time when I worked in a large retail chain, large retailer, I worked in the special occasion dresses. The things that people would try to return, and that was face to face. This is off topic, tangent, but someone tried to return a dress that had been hemmed, tried to return a dress that had these are all formal, had a huge water stain on it, and when I questioned, she was like, well, I just tried it on a lot. So people are going to return. There's gonna people that are gonna wear your item, yes, and then return it. But that's really a small percentage. Another mistake is doing free shipping from the get-go. The reason I say this is it becomes, I think, a personal thing if you want to offer free shipping or not. But when you're starting, I would recommend doing calculated shipping. This is on eBay. Poshmark is different, but on eBay, because you got to factor in the box size. If it's a large item, there's a surcharge for large oversized packages. You got to factor in where you live, where the package is going. So I think it's just easier just to do calculated. Another mistake is selling a banned item. There's the Vero list or an inauthentic item. You don't want to be selling anything that's banned. And you can go on the Vero list, go to different Facebook groups, ask questions of other resellers. I may not know, but if you have any questions, ask me. If something has been recalled, you don't want to ship that or list that. Another mistake is not factoring in selling fees when you're doing the pricing. So when you're listing, I find it best to do this when you're shopping to kind of see what it's going to sell for, whether it's worth you purchasing or not. But let's say you're in a garage sale and you don't want to do that, or you just were in a hurry, or you're selling your own items, whatever. But not factoring in the fees. I factor in, I do promoted listings, and then you have the shipping fee, the selling fee. So in my mind, I like to just say 15%. Sometimes it's a little more, because depending on what category you're selling on, depending on what promoted quantity you're listing, but I just in my head think, okay, 15 to 20% of fees are going to be off of it. A lot of times I just do 20 because it's easier in my head to account for those. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you're going to have fees. If you sell something for $10, you're not getting $10. And be realistic of how often you can ship when you're setting up your handling time. If you know that you are not going to feel like packing up packages every day, you just can't go to the post office every day, you got things going on in your life, but just be realistic. Don't think, well, I'm going to pick one day handling because I'll get more sales that way, but then you don't actually ship it out for like 2 or 3 days. Just be honest. Another problem or another mistake that new sellers especially might make is listing an auction at 99 cents. There are some times where you look through sold items and things they end up going for hundreds, but then they started with 99 cents. So you may think, wow, so auctions, yeah, are definitely the way to go. However, like, you gotta have at least 2 people that are willing to do a bidding war for it to go up. So don't start it at 99 cents. Don't even start it at $2.99 if that's, which I wouldn't because of fees and stuff. But if you're gonna run an auction, start it at your bottom barrel price of where if one person bid on that you would still be okay with selling it at that price. I do auctions when there's something that's maybe a little bit more rare, a vintage piece maybe that I'm not exactly sure how much it would go for. But overall, most of my things are sold as best offers. Now, when you're first starting out selling on eBay, you will have selling restrictions. Therefore, eBay will automatically relist your listings. However, if you have that seller restrictions until you get your limits upped, which you can periodically increase them, but until you get to, like, I have an insane amount of listings that I could do. I will never meet my monthly listings. However, if you have a limited, you don't want to necessarily have them relist everything, because depending on what your sales were, maybe you didn't have a good week and sell much, and so really you'll only be able to list like 5 new things because it relisted all the things. This is good, I think, to monitor that. You can go to your active and sort by ending first and just keep an aware and monitor that. If you're close, then just end the item, it'll go into your unsolds, and then at a later date you can list it. I am sure there are many more mistakes, I'm positive, that I have made over the time, but these were the top ones that I thought of when I was first starting, things that I just had to learn from experience. Hopefully it was helpful. If you think of any others that you think are helpful, make sure you share them down in the comments down below, share with the community, and hit that subscribe button if you want new reselling videos every Sunday. Thanks. Bye.